Hello and welcome to Come With Us, a podcast to meet all your fantasy needs. I'm Sussy Nunez.
And I'm Reshea Kelly, and we're here to dive into the tempting world of books, seductive romance, and a sprinkle of spice.
What did you just say?
The tea is spicy, and this is the perfect episode for tea.
Hey, yeah. You know what I find super interesting? The fact that a lot of people that have read these books are obsessed with second characters, like side characters, like Lucian and Ares. And I mean, we know that Asriel was going to be at some point a main character, but before he was, we were obsessed with him too. And it's interesting how we love characters that we don't know much about because we can actually make them our own in our mind. Like we can put personalities in them and traits in them because we don't know them. So I find that super interesting.
Yeah, I think it's like when we have those gaps in knowledge for them, we can kind of idealize them. And I think that's why we started off loving Tamlin. The more we learned about him, the more flaws we learned about him, and the more we started disliking him. Yep. Same thing with Rhys. Everybody was like, oh, Daddy Rhys, we love a bad boy, whatever. And then the more we learned about him, the more issues people had with him. Oh, because he's not perfect.
Chapter 5, book 5. Yeah, I'm sorry, but
yeah, and that's kind of how it works in real life too. Like you meet somebody, you get a crush on them. Oh, they're perfect. Oh, whatever. The longer you're with them, the more flaws you see in them, and then the more issues you have with them. And I think that's why we love secondary characters, because there's enough room in there for us to put what we think they are and idealize them.
Totally. And I don't know what was Sarah J. Maas' plan when she was like writing this type of books, but I don't know if she ever thought I had to make a Lucian's book or like Lucian's mother. I want to know that lady's so fucking I want to know everything. I mean, I'm sorry, but she was with a legend, Illyrian. I'm sorry, but what?
Oh, we need like a prequel novella of just Helion and the Lady of the Autumn Court, because that sounds like it would be hot.
If you're watching the video, sorry that you just saw my cat's butt. I apologize. This is not that type of podcast or video nor content. Welcome to Come With Us, your new favorite podcast. You know it. I am Sussy Nunez, Serial's bestie and spiritual baddie.
And I'm Reshea Kelly, new to this whole confidence thing and frankly acing it.
She is. Love it. Reshea, hi Sceners. We're so excited to have you another week. You know you love us. I don't know why you act like a brat, because you love it. You love being here. You love listening to us. You know it. Hello.
I think they act like a brat because that's their kink.
Heck yes. I see you. I am you. We are the same person. Love it, baby. Love it. Reshea, if your life was a book, right? And you have to title this week's chapter, what will be named?
33. I just named 33.
I know. Why, Reshea? Why?
Because tomorrow's my birthday.
Yeah. She is a Leo baby, right? No. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm she's first day of Leo.
She's a Leo baby. I love it. Are you excited?
Sure. I mean, I have decided from a very young age that I'm going to embrace and enjoy and love getting older. And I'm mostly doing that. I do maybe want some Botox, but other than that, I'm fully here to embrace the aging process.
I love it. I'm obsessed with the TikTok filter that you see yourself aged. I'm obsessed. I cried so hard with that filter. I was like, you're so beautiful. You're going to know so much. You're going to be a spiritual oldie baddie. And I feel it already in the energy.
Yeah.
I love it. I was crying so hard. I love it. You have to go watch my TikTok about that video.
All right, Susie, I told you mine. And now time for you to tell me yours. If your life was a book, what would this week's chapter be titled?
I will say, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like that is something that I totally I've been practicing this for years, and the more I do it, the more I love it, and the more I know it's right. But you know, when it's something like your cat getting sick, or like
don't cry.
I'm not gonna cry. I don't know. Life is always like throwing things at you, and you're just, oh my god, okay. Like when you try a new kink, and you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm getting into. We'll try it. Let's see. Oh my god, and then you kind of like it. So yeah, I'm in that process right now. My cat got sick, and we recorded an episode with someone that we admire and we can call friend now. So
Yeah, she's
a
amazing.
few things. Yeah, she's amazing, and I just yeah, I'm very excited about this chapter of getting more comfortable with being uncomfortable, but at the same
Mhm.
time, it's like when you try something new and you're like, fuck, I don't know if I'm gonna love it or hate it, but we're
Yeah,
there, and that's all that matters.
of
Yeah.
course. I love that. Okay, well, this week our episode is going to be wrapping up A Court of Mist and Fury.
A cool
And
math, a
l-
bar, finally.
lucky for us, we split the book almost perfectly in half, page-wise, but we didn't account for the fact that Sarah J. Maas tends to pack about 75 books worth of information into the last 100 pages of every single one of her books.
Every freaking time. I don't know what she takes when she's finalizing the books. Oh my
She's
god,
just like
I don't
she's like
freaking know.
she like reaches burnout and she's just like doing lines of coke to get through the end of the book and she's like, I have an idea, let's open a restaurant. Like I don't know, but it
Oh my
works.
god.
Every single time I read one of her books, the last 150 pages never fails to completely break me into a million pieces and then build me back together, or just like loosely tie my pieces together with string, and I must hold on until the next book in order to feel whole again. And
Totally.
this book does not disappoint in that. So I think maybe we should just let you guys know we are aware that there's a lot of parts of this book that we're not going to be talking about, but
And
let's
that's
be
okay.
honest. This is a book podcast where we talk about the shit we want to talk about, and this is where it gets spicy. So, frankly, we're just probably going to be focusing mostly on that. Okay?
And you know what?
We're
I
not going to
don't care.
apologize for it. We're not
I
going to
don't care.
apologize for it.
Yeah. We
We're not
love
going to
it.
apologize. Why would we?
So, last time we talked from chapter 1 to chapter 37. Now
Mhm.
we're 38 to the ending of the book.
Yes.
And this week
Mhm.
they get to the summer court. Chapter 38 is they get to the summer court. We get to know Tarquin. I love
Oh
him. I'm
gosh.
pretty sure he's bisexual if you know. And I love him. I love that
Yeah.
man with my whole heart.
Yeah. Talk about secondary characters that we love. This man with
Illyrian.
the heart of the heart of gold, Tarquin with the heart of gold, who
Yeah.
just wants to be a good leader, who had this position thrust upon him when his dad was killed under the mountain by Rhys, and
Was
he
his dad
still
though?
yes, because his dad was the High Lord of the Summer Court, and Rhys went into his mind and was like, "Oh, he was conspiring with people." And then he looked at Amarantha and was like, "He worked alone." And then he just straight up killed him so she couldn't torture him. And Tarquin, instead of being a shallow, one-dimensional character, was like, respect. Like he was total like he understood Rhys's motivations and why he did it, and that he was being as merciful as he could be, and he didn't hold that against Rhys. And I oh god, I loved that so much. And I the whole time this whole section was happening, I felt so bad for him. I was like the whole time they were deceiving him, I was like, no, poor Tarquin, he deserves better.
Yeah, because we know that Farah went there with Rizan and Amran, and they're
Mhm.
there, taking the book, the half of the book that they need
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
do to like the instructions manual for the
Mhm.
cauldron. We did it again, and yes, and basically they lie to him, and Farah flirts with this man because he's like,
Mhm.
maybe I can bend this woman. Why not? It could happen. Maybe I'm gonna have a high lady. Stuff could happen. But
I
she's like,
mean,
baby, no, because the whole time she was thinking about Rizan and how she was jealous that he was flirting with what's it, his sister,
Cressida? Cressida,
the cousin, or
it's not Tarquin's sister, it's Varian's sister, right? Varian
yeah.
is the one who ends up banging Amryn, right? And then
He
Cressida is the
got
sister.
balls, by the way, for that. We
He
love
got
that man.
cojones grande.
Very, 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 because the only man in the book that actually has big freaking balls is that man.
Yeah, for sure.
The only one. And Rem is the only character, like not human because she's not human nor Fae, supernatural character that is scary as fuck. And only him did
Mm.
that. He hit that.
Yeah. He was like, not a deterrent.
I
Yeah.
really love him. I really love him. But yes, Farah, it's flirting with this man, and
Mhm.
then Risan with the other woman, and they're like hating each other at the moment because they're so jealous. They're like, oh, you said that. Oh, you did that. Oh, you're gonna. Oh, I see you. Okay,
Oh,
and
you're
then
wearing that for him?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Risan was like losing it. But all of this happens, and they freaking stole the book. Not my favorite part of the book. It's okay. I think it was one of your favorites. We talked about it before.
I don't wanna say it was my favorite. I felt like, I enjoy a book that makes me feel real feelings, and
Hmm.
that part was giving me so much anxiety, like, I couldn't stop reading because I needed to know that they didn't drown. Even though there was this much of the book left, like a whole,
I
like,
know.
4 inches of the book left, I knew it wasn't over, but I still was just like, "I just need to know that they're okay."
I do
So
love how the karma, quote unquote, worked on the book because the creature that actually saved Farah is the same one that she helped
Mhm.
in the court.
Yep, during the tithing.
Yeah. And I
Yeah, well,
think
it's a
that
cousin. It was like a cousin of her or something.
I
It's
mean,
like
yeah,
the
but the thing
people.
is that
Yeah.
how the karma worked, right? Like, okay,
Mhm.
babes, you do good here, and we'll do good for you too. And it was really
Yep.
nice. I did like that, and I think it was a nice touch from SJM because
Mhm.
it shows how Farah's life worked. Actually, she's always being the person that is present, thinking about others, thinking how can she do good,
Mhm.
and then the good is always going back to her, and that is really
Yeah.
pretty. I do like that.
It's finally like it's finally gets like it's she's starting to reap the benefits of being a good person because for so
Yeah,
long she was taking care of her family and just kept getting the short end of the stick.
since we are talking about Tarquin and how there is a picture that I saw on the subreddit for Akatar, right, that
Oh yeah.
says I love Tarquin not just because he's a kind of high lord who sends rubies as death threats, but because he's the kind of male who, if he knew Farah was triggered by red, because we know she, the blood and whatever under
Mhm.
the mountain, she's PTSD, will have sent her an emerald or sapphire along with a note saying, I still want you dead, bitch. That is a perfect definition of his character, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's probably where you get the bi vibes because I can hear him saying it, be like, "I still want you dead, bitch," and that's a very bi vibe thing to say.
I'm telling you, he's giving me vibe. He's basically sending these rubies to them because they stole the book and he feels like they betrayed him. To be honest with you, they did. They
Oh, they
totally skipped him.
absolutely did.
They
You feel
absolutely did.
he would have been the guy that would have been like,
Yes,
"I'm on board, let's do this together."
yes,
Why
yes.
they kept him out of it, not even fair. I feel so bad for
Because
Tarquin. He deserved
because
better.
Risan because Risan is
Is a control freak.
bad chaos. He's bad chaos. There's good chaos. There's amazing
He's a
chaos. There's bad chaos.
he's a chaotic evil.
He is, and I'm not saying this in like he's a bad person at all, but he does like control and he does like to do things the way he likes. Unless Fairy's like, okay, baby, but let's do it this way. And he's like, okay, baby, because you're giving me vaginas or whatever, it's fine. Like you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. I maybe it's more like maybe it's like it's because he's morally gray. He can't always make the right choice because if he was always making the right choice, then he would just be the good guy. And I think
I know she
sorry.
go ahead.
I was gonna say I think SJM was trying to keep him the morally gray character.
I know she explains in the book why, because Farah says something, oh yeah, I think it was Farah that I'll just tell him or whatever.
Yeah.
And he explains why not. I remember that I don't remember specifically what he said, but it was
Hmm.
something.
He
silly. Like,
justified it. He's
yeah,
justifying his own actions. They aren't
exactly.
really, yeah.
And it's like, babes, just tell him Tarquin is a king. Like, he's fantastic. So yes, we love Tarquin. We want to know. I actually want to know if Tarquin is a kinky kin or not. I want to know if he's into men too, because yes, please. I want to know about Helion and everything in his life and all of his sex parties that we know he has.
The real
This,
toga parties.
yes,
Real
please,
toga
yes.
parties. Not these frat boy jokes that happen on college campuses. A real fucking
No.
toga party.
Yeah, and we know he goes wild and crazy. So please, God, listen to me.
So speaking of like the Feyre and Rizan being all angry and jealous during the summer court, like
Yeah.
you're at this part and you're like, huh, that's weird that they're acting like this when for so long, like, okay, so for the longest time I was like, damn, is Rhys really going to be the love interest or is he really the bad guy? Because part of me wanted him to really be the bad guy and like betray Feyre because he's such a good bad guy. He could do it so well, right? Oh, sorry. But then you can tell that they're like a little like jealous of each other in the summer court. Like, oh, she's giving Tarquin all this attention and wearing this pretty dress for him, and she's all pissed, right? And then they get the blood rubies, and Feyre decides to like switch it up. Rhys is like super pissed with himself. He's upset. He has like the weight of the world on his shoulders. And she decides to flip the script. Whereas at the beginning, Rhys was helping Feyre get through her depression and stuff like that by taking her mind off of it and like kind of poking at her a little bit. She starts doing the same thing to try to make him feel better. And as she's walking away, like she was trying to like flirt with him a little bit. She made some comment about like the little lacy things that were at the lingerie store downtown. And then he goes into her mind and just plays out this whole fucking scene where she's trying on lace lingerie for him. And then he tells the ladies who work in the shop to, close up and leave them alone.
I
And I was
know.
like,
I know.
I didn't realize that it was a vision at first. And the second it was like that she realized it, I was like, God damn it. And like almost threw my Kindle across the room. I was so mad. But then it was like from there, it just like kept going. And then the next thing you know, they get the mission of going to the place that Under the Mountain was modeled after. And it's the Court of Nightmares, the real Court of Nightmares. And Feyre's like, I want in. I'm not going to be a little bitch about this. I want in. And Rhys, the fact that Rhys had to provide Feyre with trigger warnings. Woo-hoo, I'm going to be an asshole to you. Like, I'm not going to be the man you're talking to right now. I'm going to have to be cruel and I'm going to have to use you like a fucking thing. And
As
that's
you should.
it's my dream. This is my dream to just be like, have somebody look at me and be like, I'm going to treat you like literal trash. Please know that we're just playing a role and me just be able to go.
That's why aftercare comes after.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God. It was so then they go under the mountain or not under the mountain. They go into the Court of Nightmares, right? Which is also under a mountain.
Feyre is
And
basically naked.
she's like donning a black version of what she wore in Under the Mountain
Under the
when
mountain.
when Rhys was having her get all hyped up on fairy wine, right? So she's wearing like basically a couple like ripped up curtains and that's and a belt and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But he did put her in a crown that nobody ever questioned. Like, why the fuck's Feyre in a crown? She's not even one of the inner circle yet. But I digress. And
Yeah.
first of all, the imagery that Sarah J. Maas did with describing the Court of
Fantastic.
Nightmares, at like the lead up to it, explaining like the dark figures carved into the stone and everything, it
Like
almost set
gargoyles and
this
everything. Loved it.
it like set this mood of like dark and sexy somehow and
Yeah.
dangerous. And then when they walk in before him and everybody is told to kneel and she puts her face like towards the ground and she's on her knees.
Ugh.
And he walks up and grabs her by the chin to tilt her head up. I was like, fuck me. Oh my God. I died a little bit. I
Oh my
died a
God.
little bit.
Dude, like
And
we wanted the sex, but we didn't need it because it was the tension. Oh,
the
oh.
just the way that it's like 2 pages of him
No, but what
lightly.
happens? No, but wait, what happens?
So then he has her come up to the, what's the word? Yeah, wherever the throne is. I can't think of
Yeah.
the word right now. So he has her come up and he has her sit on his lap. And then he like spreads her legs a little bit to where the only thing between her and this entire court of nightmares is one piece of fabric, right? And he has them continue to kneel. And then in front of the steward of the court of nightmares, Kier, Morgan's dad, who BT dubs, total piece of shit, right?
We hate him.
And we hate him, who's also a complete prude and like typical conservative male, like, ew, this is so improper, right?
But
He
how,
straight
right?
up,
Because he's a court of nightmares. Like, how can
I
he
don't know.
be? Whatever. Go ahead.
I don't understand either. I don't get it either. But like,
Yeah.
so Rhys is just lightly like acting like she's just a thing on his lap that he's playing with, right? Like a
Yeah.
fidget spinner. Feyre is a fidget spinner at this point, and he's
She
talking to
is
get like, give us,
poor, and he's treating her like
yeah.
so.
Yeah, and he's like, "Here, just give me the lowdown, like what's going on right now. Just give me the report, right? The overview." And he's just lightly tracing his fingers across her stomach, and then the edge of his thumb like grazes along the bottom of her breast, and then up her rib, and then down. And he barely touches anything, and then he like goes down to the thigh, and it's 2 pages of just his fingers graze down, and now it's going over the top of my thigh, and now it's going up the inner part of my thigh, and it's so close to my and now it's going away from, and then oh my god, and then she's like breathing heavily, and everybody is just still being told to kneel and watch this shit. And Feyre's like, at one point she's like, I don't give a fuck, like take me now, bitch. And he feels between her legs, and she can tell that, or he can tell that she's wet. Oh my
Like,
god, she's
I'm pretty sure there was a pull in his leg. Like
oh,
he's probably like half
he had
his
he had to like
thigh,
wring his he had to like wring his pants out.
half of his thigh probably was like
Oh my god.
wet with the
And
whole juices and everything.
right, and then he just whispers in her ear like, it's okay, it's just your body reacting. And in that moment, oh my god, the hottest thing, because here's the other thing. It was so hot and then so sad at the same time, because you
Yeah.
know that's him. It's what he said to himself when he was with Amarantha, and you're like, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, he thinks he's traumatizing her right now. He thinks that this is traumatizing for her. And she's just like, did you just stick a finger in real quick?
Farah, we see all of this. We live through all of this, but through Farah's eyes, right?
Mhm.
Meaning, she is telling us everything that she's feeling, and you feel everything with her, like
Mhm.
you're there, and you feel the fingers, and you feel the touch, and you feel the little like breath that when he's talking with the other guy, she has no idea what is happening. Like
She doesn't care. She doesn't give a
she
shit.
really she disassociated. The only thing she was feeling was his touch. And
Yeah.
that was the hottest thing ever. To be
I've
honest with you,
yeah, I've
I
never been
think
edged that hard in my life.
even though this book has sex, still in that book, that is the hottest scene.
Oh, 100%. When we did our interview yesterday with our other guest,
Mm-hmm.
um, we were talking about like, what's your go-to reading scene if you just need to get amped up or like feel a little spicy, right? That is always my answer. That one scene. I
Yeah.
mean, the way it changed me, I was like, okay, my new goal is to have the kind of chemistry that their touch gets me going without even touching my bathing suit areas, right? Like you're touching my stomach and my ribs and my thighs, and it's getting me that going. It's going to be good, right? Like, Woo!
It was out of this
Woo!
world. We didn't need the actual sex because the tension, the insinuations, everything is
Oh
just.
my God.
And the only thing she wanted was for him to please grab your thumb and just rub my clit just a little bit. Just
Just
it,
just a little bit.
I just don't care. Please just do it. You felt like she was desperate for it, and of course he
Mhm.
didn't. He didn't because he whatever. He's a gentleman. We love it,
Mm.
but we didn't want him to be a gentleman in that moment.
Oh my God.
Um, Now, can we please talk about the fact that so many things could have like happened in that moment? He could have done so many
Mm.
things
Mhm.
without actually like penetrating her.
Mm. Like?
Anything with fingers, anything with toys. Are you kidding me? He is magic. He is magic. He could have done so many things.
He
He
could have
knew
just, like he could have, like, fucked her brain to brain.
exactly. They did it after that, like
I
basically.
know,
So
right?
why
Like, why didn't
couldn't
you do
you?
that there? Like, can you imagine how it would like, the voyeurism kink that would have been played out to fruition if she had just, like, been brought to climax in front of the entire court of nightmares?
I know that is a very amazing, fantastic chapter and part in the book, but it could have been so much freaking more.
I will say though, I think that it was probably best for Feyre that she didn't have that moment of vulnerability
We're not thinking about
where
Farah. I'm thinking about myself. I just needed it.
okay,
Come
no,
on.
yeah, okay, yeah, you're fair. That's fair. Yeah, because I was just thinking like future wise, like yeah, it's probably best that Feyre didn't have that level of vulnerability and openness in front of all of these people just because of who she becomes to them in the future
Mm,
and her position of power later. But if it were me, I'd have been
mhm.
like, "Oh my god, just do it. I don't fucking care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about consequences." Future me, not a problem. Not that's not I'm not thinking about that right now. If I don't come right now, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, woo,
Like
that was such a good scene.
that was such a
What?
good. If you're into edging, I think that was even though
Huh.
he it wasn't intentional ish. I don't think. I mean he was into it, but I think at the same time he was feeling guilty, right? Because of what you said of Amaranth and whatever.
Mhm.
But putts. I wanted him to just be a
Mm.
bad guy, the villain, the actual villain, and do something.
Right? Like, have a moment of weakness, Reese. Jesus fuck, man. Come on. Like, nobody has willpower that strong. No one.
Whatever.
It's okay.
Continuing.
It's okay. So then after the Court of Nightmares, yes, there's flirting going on. Yes, they have a whole conversation about what the wingspan says about a man's dick, or about a male's dick, I guess. And all of this like back and forth and will they, won't they? And then, oh, the note passing that goes on, their Fae texting. Do you remember all that? Oh,
I
okay.
loved
Just
it.
all of this shit, right? And then we get to the part where they're training in the snow, right? In the woods, and she's learning how to winnow and she can't do it and he like pisses her off and she winnows and like runs at him and they land on top of each other and there's this moment of them like, "Oh, are they going to kiss now because he's on top of her or she's on top of him?" And then they
Mhm,
don't and
mhm,
it's like angry,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And and then the Lucian thing happens where he tries to get Feyre to go back and
Oh yeah,
then
because remember, Tamblin thinks that
oh yeah,
Don is actually like
a
Farah is
bad
there
guy.
again her will. He
Mhm.
thinks that Rizan is still a bad guy. He doesn't know that the world changed, that we don't need Amarantha anymore, that he's not on their whatever they were before.
Mhm.
So he's not adapting to now times, right?
Yeah, well,
Perfect.
yeah, and right, and like Tamlin's just refusing to look at the writing on the wall, and he's looped Lucian
Yeah.
into it, and so they're on these lands that aren't protected by the Night Court's borders and
No.
stuff. So Lucian like pops up, tries to take her. Feyre grows fucking wings, and then she finds out that wings are real sensitive, and then they finish their training, and they have
Oh
to
yeah,
spend the
Lucian
night
lives
together.
because Farah is too strong and she actually like because
Oh yeah.
he expected her to be like the fragile version of her that he knew. It's just
Yeah.
like, bitch, I've been training. What?
I told you I don't want or not Tarquin, Tamlin anymore. Get the fuck out. Leave me alone.
Yeah. And he's like, Farrah, you don't know what you're saying. We
Oh my
love Lucien. We love
God.
that man. But at that moment I was like, babes, you want to be blind. I know you're missing one, but you're not missing the other one. Please.
I'm pretty
Please.
sure that one, the metal one, is more useful than his regular eye used to be.
Pretty
So
sure.
he's like so opposite of blind. It's not even funny.
We're
He's
talking
just in
about the
denial
eye,
at
by
this
the
point.
way. Sorry, we're talking about the eye, guys. We're talking about like he's missing one eye because we're saying he's missing one. What is he missing? Give me 1 second.
Testicle.
Because Lucian
Oh.
did all of this and they kind of like cannot go back to where they were staying. They stayed at an
Mhm.
inn. And you know what
Mhm.
happens in a book when there's only one room
There's
and
only
one
one
bed.
bed.
You know what happens. Something has to
And
happen.
they were very wet and very cold. And they just
Yeah.
needed the body heat. Oh,
We do need to okay, Rizan offered to sleep on the floor. He did say something. And Ferris like, no, baby. Never.
there was no room on the floor. There was no room on the floor. Anyways, I will
And I
say,
think with his wings, he couldn't like do it, right? Something like that.
I
I
mean, he
don't
could
remember
have
what
put the
was.
wings away. Let's be honest. He could have put the wings away.
I know. I don't remember
Mm,
specifically how the thing happened, but the thing is that they, of course, because it's a book and it's only one
mm,
bed, you know that they have to end
mm.
up sleeping together.
Yeah.
And oh my god! And I don't know if that is like my favorite one from like no, it cannot be because we have some action on the last book, so that's my
Oh
favorite.
yeah.
But
Of Mist and Fury, though,
I do like the Court of Nightmares.
that was
But
really
I
hot.
think, but I think if I had to choose like sex one, it has to be the inn.
Okay, but there is no sex. There's just fingering.
That's sex, baby.
I mean, if you're a lesbian, it is.
That is sex. Like
Okay, all right, yeah,
that is total act of sex.
all
No
right, I'll
judgment
take
for
it.
sex. All this, that is sex. So if I
Yeah,
had to
good point.
choose like penetration wise,
Okay.
it has to be that one because yes, I do like that. And whatever. The thing is that it was so sexy.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the thing. I completely forgot, and I was like rereading this, and I remember now. I was so excited because I thought that his behavior in this meant that he was going to be like a dom.
Mhm.
Um, because okay, so there's this one part right here where he says something about her, like, okay. He goes, "You cruel, wicked thing! Didn't anyone ever teach you manners?" And then he makes her say fucking please. Woo! And I was like, oh, he's got like Dom
Yeah.
energy. I was so excited. And then I was a little disappointed that it ended up being a little bit more on the vanilla side, but
A little bit
I'll
more
take
the
it.
vanilla side. Excuse you. That is
I'm
total
talking about
vanilla.
like him in general. Okay, but just like the idea of making her beg.
No, in that moment, that was fun. I think she knew
Hot
what she
as
was
fuck.
doing, Sarah J. Maas. She knew.
Mhm.
But then she tricked us into thinking that it was going to be kinky, and it didn't.
That's pretty vanilla. It's not bad. It's just vanilla. And vanilla is great
There's
sometimes.
nothing wrong with vanilla. There's
Nothing
nothing
wrong
wrong
with
with
vanilla.
that. But when you read the type of books that we read, you expect,
Mhm.
a little bit more.
You can send us a message on comewithuspod.com. You can reach out to us by emailing us at comewithuspodofficial@gmail.com. And we want to hear all those sexy, spicy stories. Like if you have
We could.
stories that remind you of the shit we read, we want to hear it. If
If you tried
you
a kink, you said why? Why did my crazy mind go there? No, I'm never again. We want to hear that.
Oh yeah, we want to hear your horror stories too about kinks gone wrong.
Or
We want to hear,
things going really good,
yeah,
really
like
good.
we want to hear the story where you're like, "Oh, I read this book and I didn't realize that I had this kink until I read this." And then I went to my partner and I was like, "Babe, can we try this?" And we tried it and it was the hottest thing ever and everybody needs to try it.
Yeah.
That's the stories we want.
The link is gonna be in the description of this video, and you can find all of the information in our social medias. We
Yep.
always
Tell me how you felt reading the end scene.
it. I think HOT in like capital letters is gonna be because let's be honest, like she's been building up this tension the whole book. The whole book.
Mhm,
We know that sex with Tamlin was okay, and okay, it's not there's nothing wrong with okay sex,
mhm,
but then you have this violet-eyed, dark shadow man
mhm.
fingering you in a freaking horrible room, and the only thing you can think is, "Oh my god, it's finally happening! Oh my god!" You know that? Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
happening! Like that.
Yeah. How disappointed were you when he didn't just take her right then and there?
I loved it.
You loved it? Okay. All right. I felt as like it ended and they like went to sleep. I was like, no.
I loved it because you know that he's not gonna do that to their first time.
Dumb.
I know, but they didn't have the space. They didn't have the equipment nor
Oh
anything
yeah.
to be
Yeah, he was
comfortable.
yeah, because he made that comment like, oh, when I fuck you the first time, it's gonna be right. Like this is I don't have the space necessary.
Yeah. And if they do, if they would have done it, it's just it would have been sexy and we would have loved it. But
Mhm.
no, I
Yeah,
actually
good
loved
point.
because of course of what happens next. But how was it for you?
Like I said, like I was riled up. I was like, okay, it's gonna this the teasing is hot. And see, here's the thing. I love the sex that starts out as teasing. If
Mm-hmm.
it's like the teasing happened a week ago and then we start kissing and then we start having sex, like, yeah, that's cool. But when the teasing is just like, we're not gonna do more, we're not gonna do more, we're just gonna touch, we're just gonna
Yeah.
do this, we're gonna stop, we're not gonna fully, and then it becomes so hot that you're like, fuck it, let's just do it now. That to me is like the hottest where you're just like, I know I said no. I know I said no, but maybe like,
I
ugh,
love it.
that's what I wanted so bad here. I wanted them to like, I wanted Reese to lose control of his, like
He
his self
did.
control. His self control is too much. The fact that he was like, I just want to touch you. And then he got nothing. Like she didn't suck his dick. There was no P
And
and D
that's the part
action.
that I love.
I was like, I mean, I love that he focused on her completely. I do love that part. But part of me just wanted there to be a little loosening of the reins and just a faltering of his self control for a minute. Because I think
I
Feyre
love
wanted it
it.
too.
No, I
Feyre
think it was
wanted
perfect. Dude, it
Fey.
was an in. It was like this size. Like, no, 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 no. It was perfect. It
Mm,
needed the wings. We needed the wings in the middle. No, 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 no. She
I'm
did
not
what she was
disagreeing with
supposed
you.
to.
I'm
She did
not
what she
disagreeing
was
with you.
supposed to.
It was great the way that it was written.
But
I
she did
also what?
touch his wings.
Yeah, remember like she touched it and he was like, that's very sensitive. Your hands are very cold. He did
We
the
know,
he did the he did the I'm gonna come face.
we we know the Rizam is into like temperature play because he was like the comment about your hands are very cold. We knew.
100%. That's why he likes to fuck in a cabin that's surrounded by snow.
Oh,
Um,
that was the thing that I forgot. If they would have like done it there, that whole place would have come down,
yeah, good
destroyed,
point. Yeah, yeah,
destroyed. We're
good
talking about
point.
the strongest and most powerful High Lord. He would have been when he
Yeah,
roared, done, done,
yeah,
baby.
good point. Good point. Yeah. All right. I'm just saying, like, I liked it that way, but I know that in like my real life, the way that that scene would have ended up would have been me like, I don't fucking care, just fuck me. Like,
We do want to know what you think about the ink scene because
yes.
I think that
Are you on
setup.
Susie's team or my team?
Of course, I want to know that, but I want to know like do you feel like that was the setup for the whole sexual relationship that they have? Because I was talking to a friend and she was like, I think she made the same comment as you. Sarah J. Maas, she gave us like this, I'm a daddy type of energy. I'm a Don, right? And then he's like, okay, no, maybe Farah is not going to be compatible with this energy. Even though I think
Mm,
she would have been
mm,
perfect, like a perfect brat slash good girl.
yeah.
But what do you think? Like, do you think after this, Rizan was like, maybe Farah is not for it and we're just going to have vanilla sex? Because I do think that he was
No.
crazy in bed before. Or, as my other friend said, he's traumatized by Amarantha, and she was into all kind of weird stuff, and he's tired.
Yeah. Mhm. Good,
I want
good
to know
point.
what you think about that, my friend Little
We also
Singers. Next morning, Farah is very pleased. Like, they are giggly and blah, blah, blah. And oh my God, I cannot believe we did this. Yes, they're like that. But Rizan, he's a high lord. He has to be all business, right? So he's like, we train. Even though that happens, we train, baby, because they were training these whole days, right?
Mhm.
What happens?
They're flying somewhere, uh, and I guess this is supposed to be the important part of this upcoming bit. Rhys gets shot down by some ash arrows. He falls. Farah is trying to figure out where the fuck he is. She's like following his scent. They tried to like divert with like his clothes going one direction, but she's like, bitch, my scent's on him too. So I'm just going to follow my own scent. And she finds him and he's like tied up in this cave with ash arrows through his wings and he's getting like
Yeah.
tortured by this
We
soldier.
know, we definitely know who the culprit is, right? Who's the
Yeah,
test?
it's they're Goonies for the King of Highburn.
Yeah.
Just fucking miserable, terrible people who apparently are just angry about life because they've never had an orgasm. So
I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of like that this happened because we get to see the cereal again.
because that is what becomes the important part of this of this
I
section of the
know.
book.
I want to say, but continue. What happens to
Okay,
this man?
so Feyre becomes a total badass and she kills every single one of those soldiers. Just like absolutely feral. She gets Rhys out of there. She finds a place because she's new to winnowing. And so she's like making herself exhausted, trying to use all these powers. She hasn't honed completely yet. She finds a cave. She's trying to nurse him back to health. He is not getting better fast enough, and they need to get to safety. So
Yeah.
she goes out looking for the Suriel to get help finding the cure to help him get better.
You know, Gossip Girl. Of course you do.
Best
XOXO.
show ever.
Gossip Girl. That is a Serial. Serial knows the
100%.
tea about everything and everyone. He's an oracle, but he's a gossipy oracle. Like, he
Oh,
wants
yeah.
you to know the tea so you can like change your life and stuff. Like, he's good vibes. I think he will be my bestie. I think he is my number one. To be honest with you, no doubt.
That's fair.
The whole book, I love
It's
him.
he definitely has a cult following for sure.
Definitely, the Serial
Yeah.
is the king queen of Agatar, and we cry. We
Yeah.
freaking cry in the next book. That's
Yeah.
coming. We cry.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
No,
I don't want to think
no.
about it yet.
So, we cry like really tears. So
Real tears.
this happened, and the cereal gives her like, because he has a poison, and Rizan has poison in his body, so she has to take it out, right? And he's like, okay, this plant is gonna help you save your mate.
And she's like, okay, I'm sorry, the what? The fact that they didn't know or that she had no idea.
She has no idea.
I think, yeah, he knew, but then the fact that she was just clueless, I will say it's probably because she was human. She didn't really understand. And then she just attributed everything to the bargain that they made. So that makes sense.
I do not blame Farah at all that she didn't know, because they
Yeah.
did the bond thing, the bargain.
The bargain.
So
Mhm.
one, two. New York is New Yorking outside, but it's happening. Two, Rizan is very sexy. Like, you never
Mhm.
know. Like,
Yeah.
he's giving you this, we are going to be something maybe at some point vibes.
I will say, you know what I do blame her for?
What?
The fact that she gets angry at him for not telling her. And I will die on this hill. I think it's stupid that she was like, I can't believe you didn't tell me. He didn't want the fact that there was a bond to influence her decision.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted her to do what she wanted because she wanted it and for no other reason. He knew that she had spent her whole life making decisions out of necessity and out of other people's needs and wants, and it was never about her and what she wanted her life to look like. And he didn't want this influencing her because he could have sped this up so much faster. He could have just been like, you're my mate, get it together, let's fuck. He put his wants and needs aside so that she could have the space to decide whether that was even a bond she wanted to accept. She was new to being a fairy. She was new to this whole world. And she was, for the first time in her life, starting to make decisions for herself. She left Tamlin. She left the Spring Court. She decided she wanted to learn how to hone her powers, and she was becoming independent. And I feel like there's a certain level of dependency that happens when you are just told, oh, this is my mate. It feels like that choice is taken from you. And Feyre has always been a very independent queen. She's like, it's about me and what I want, and I'm not a damsel in distress, and I don't need to be saved, so on and so forth, right? And then she's getting all mad that even when he was like, I didn't tell you because I didn't want it to influence you. She's like, no, fuck you. And I was like, God, Feyre, you're being a child right now. I wanted to just put her in timeout. She was being an absolute brat, and I did not appreciate it.
I do know what I did mind. The whole, she went to a cabin because they fight. And then she's like, when he's better, she's like, wait on me. I want to be there. I want to get out of here. I don't want to be with you right now. And then she gets to this cabin, beautiful, where they spend the whole summer or winter or whatever. They're always there. It's like a family type of thing, like a friend family type of
like
place,
a vacation home. Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's great. Yes, we love it. And then she gets to paint. And that is the part that I felt like it was so necessary. Like, Sarah J. Maas, if you want her to paint so bad, just freaking give her a room at any of the houses that they lived in, and that's it. Because
I don't know how I would feel.
What you said right now, the argument that she had, like her being mad and whatever, doesn't make sense because it didn't have any in the middle that was good. Like nobody kidnapped her. You know what I mean?
She was angry because he didn't tell her. She's angry because he didn't tell her about the bond. She completely lets so many other things go that he doesn't tell her about. Like you didn't completely blow him off for days about any of the other decisions he made.
That. So, I just don't understand why Sarah J. Maas put that bit there. Like, it's cute, okay, haha, the eyes, haha, the paintings. The Morrigan always liked painting too. It was cute, but it was unnecessary to me, honestly. But then, what happens?
But then, so Rhys shows up, right? And he's like, "Can you forgive me, pretty please?" And she's like, "Okay, so." Do you want to eat something? And he just stops and he's like, girl, you can't be asking me if I want to eat something in this condition. And she's like holding a can of Dinty Moore and she's like, it's just steak and potato soup. I don't know what to tell you. And he's like, it's just chicken noodle. What the fuck is your problem? And he tells her that a female offering a male food when there is a mating bond between them is her gesture of her accepting the bond, and it's super significant. And before she decides to accept the bond, she asks him to tell her everything.
And he does.
And I want to say somebody wrote a fanfic of all of A Court of Mist and Fury from Rhys's point of view. And I can't wait to read it. I have to find it. I want to read it so bad because it's basically chapter 54 expanded, right? And you find out he's so earnest and he's so dedicated to protecting his people that he makes the wrong decision sometimes because he's so overly protective and he doesn't trust anyone, even his inner circle, enough to let them take the reins sometimes. When it really matters, and you hear about all of his trauma, about being captured by Amarantha's army 500 years ago. You hear about how that war took a toll on him. You learn about his time under the mountain. You learn about how in that one part at the end of ACOTAR, when he talks to Feyre one last time, and then he just freezes and disappears, that's when the bond snapped into place for him. You hear about when he was starting to get visions of
Oh my
paintings
god.
of like little
Yeah.
flowers, and then he sends back images to this void that he doesn't know about, and then Feyre's like, "Oh, I don't know why, but I feel like painting the
At
night
the other
sky on
end,
my drawer
painting
as
them.
the dresser." And you're
Oh,
realizing we're at chapter 54 of the second book, and Sarah J. Maas has worked in things that she barely mentioned at the beginning of the first book. And that's when I realized
genius. Genius.
the first time I realized that Sarah J. Maas was playing 4D chess and we were all playing checkers. I was floored. What about you? Like, what was the part that like got you?
That part when he started saying like, oh, and started having like these images in my mind. I was just seeing things, and she was painting it at the end of the. Oh my god, it was just the bond was always there. And when I realized that when she was at the Supreme Court and she wanted to go to the Calamite celebration, and everybody's like, why she went there? I remember Natalia telling us she's so stupid, like she wasn't supposed to get out or blah blah blah. And I'm like, the bond was calling her. She was supposed to go there and see Rizan, and he was supposed, and that's why he said when he says, "I've been waiting or I've been looking for you." Oh my
There
god,
you are. I've been looking for you. Ooh.
that
Yeah.
like
Uh,
everything
but-
just
Mhm. Yeah, the people who are like, "Oh, it was the call of the drums." They're like the
no
fairy
babe.
drums, and she felt no. It was Rizan's heartbeat the whole
It had
time.
to be. It had to be.
Mhm.
It was the bond that was calling her. It was the bond saying, "Go because your mate is there." And
Mhm.
to be honest with you, the whole time he was talking in that chapter, I was bawling my ass out. I was
Mhm.
crying. And when he talks about Amarantha and how he went there because he didn't want anybody on his court to like live through that, I was like, oh my
Mhm.
god.
Yeah.
I was crying. I had makeup and the mascara wasn't waterproof and everything was black. It was beautiful. It was a
Yeah.
whole moment.
Yeah, and then that at the end of that is when he tells her he loves her
Yeah.
because it's more than just a bond. He
No, baby.
fucking loves her.
Yep.
And what does she do, Susie?
They fuck.
She hands him the bowl of soup,
Oh
Susie.
shit. Oh. I'm sorry, guys. The
Okay,
bond is important and it's cute and whatever. But honestly, we've been waiting for this, to be honest with you. So I just
this
wanted to get
poor
over it.
this poor man deserved like at least a shepherd's pie, and she gave him canned soup.
I don't think Farah knows how to actually cook.
You know what? That's what makes me think that maybe Elaine or Nesta did the cooking when they were human living in the shack.
Yeah.
Because how did she not know how to work a fucking stove? How
I
did she
don't
not
think
know how to cook?
Farah, yeah, definitely don't think
So
she
maybe they weren't completely useless and we're just all very biased readers.
I'm pretty sure Elaine is the one that cooks because she's always baking and stuff on the other books.
Yeah.
But
So then the part that everybody talks about happens. Chapter 55.
chapter 55, baby.
Chapter 55.
They freaking do it.
Finally. And I'll tell you, for vanilla sex, it was hot. It was pretty good.
It was okay.
I appreciated the fact that it was like 6 pages, 4 more than 6
It's
pages.
nice.
I would take anything after that end scene. I would have accepted anything as as smut at that point. I was edged
But
so hard.
we have like a summary of what is happening on the chapters, right? Because we
Mhm.
want to be very accurate when we're talking with you guys, to you guys. So we're reading something and it says, they sleep together a lot.
Wait, where does it say that? Is that is, is that in chapter 56 breakdown?
55, but it makes sense, guys, because they were Rizan was waiting for months for this, and Farah is a horny chick. We know it. Like it makes sense that they did it a lot.
Fair is glowing. Seems to be a power she got from the day court. They sleep together a
Oh
lot.
yeah, right. Farah is glowing. Like she has this
Oh
thing
yeah.
that makes her glow, and she's like very, very, very happy while they doing it.
Yeah.
So Rizan is like, wow, this is my
Yeah.
mate. I just yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a
Oh,
lot.
and then we got to talk about how in chapter 56, Cassian starts poking at him because he's so wound up from all the need to make fuck that he needs to fight out some energy,
Yeah.
which to me sounds like they're just denying a very real sexual connection. And they're like, well, we can't make fuck, so we must make fight. And so they just, it must have been probably the most sexual tension in a fist fight ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I would have watched that brawl
No
for a
doubt.
while.
No
100%.
doubt.
They took their shirts off, right? That's all I need.
Cassian, please just do it. So we want to talk about, like, we want to talk more about the sex part of it. But honestly, I'm being completely honest right now. It wasn't my favorite part. Like, again, again, I thought Rizan was going to be kinky because his
Yeah.
darks, his violet eyes, his shadows. I really thought he was going to be kinkier. He didn't. It's okay. You want to add something to that chapter though?
Um, I think, yeah, if I was gonna add anything to it, I really wished it would have been rougher. I wanted the need to be more ripping each other's clothes off. And now I know we kind of get that with the paint, but all I can think about with the paint is yeast infection. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get a yeast infection if that
Oh
paint
yeah,
gets
because
anywhere.
we understand that Farah was painting the whole time that she was at the cabin. She was painting.
Yeah.
We know, we
Mhm.
get it, Farah. We get it.
Who loves interior design that you didn't pick out?
Farah. Exactly. She didn't ask, by the way. She just started painting the cabin because
Just,
she is like that.
yeah.
And then when he gets there, she gives him the soup, blah blah blah. Everything is happening. And then they just start. They just
They
start
didn't
going
move it.
on.
They didn't move anything out of the way. All the
Nope.
paint just spilling everywhere. She's drawing arrows down his stomach, pointing to his dick because she's a comedian as well. Yes. I'm like,
And
okay.
honestly, it's cute. At the moment that you're reading it, it's cute. But then I closed the chapter and I took a shower because I needed it. Uh, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like that is so dirty. Like my obsession, like my brain is very obsessive. So I will be like, oh my god, the painting is in the couch. The painting, oh, they're magic though, so it doesn't make any sense. Actually, you know what? Ignore what I just said because they're magic. They can make disappear everything they want, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is like a lot of people are really
Yeah.
angry about Feyre painting this cabin without anybody's permission, and I was like, Reese can just go like that, and then it's not painted anymore. So
The void now.
it's like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure being Fae is like being a magic eraser. Like you could just erase whatever. So like it's not really that big of a
Unless
deal.
unless you're tumbling and you don't do shit with your magic.
Oh,
Honestly.
I'm sad.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so then
we wanted to be very more smutty about this, but for me, like specifically me,
Mhm.
I cannot give you much because it was okay. That's all I'm gonna
it was
say.
I mean, it's cool they fucked brain to brain. That's pretty neat.
It's
They
not in that scene though.
It's not?
No.
Oh, that's Frost and Starlight. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was kind of vanilla. I feel like the lead up to it, the Court of Nightmares, the inn, the Fae
Much
texting,
better.
the scene in the lingerie store, like all of that, I feel like the buildup was just so much better. I feel like this was an important scene because it was them actually coming together for the first time and admitting what they were, mates. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
So
but that's
they
about
had
it.
they had the kids conversation and they both agreed that they're not gonna have kids. Both. It's not the right
Yeah.
moment. We are in a war type of thing right now going on. We're not gonna have kids.
Kids in this economy?
I had the comment right. Yeah. They both agreed to that. What
Mhm.
happened in the following books, we're gonna be talking about
I
it.
think maybe SJM had, I don't know, a senior moment, forgot what she had written.
Everything happens. Not much, but everything happens.
Stuff happens.
Like action stuff that we don't care because we are smart readers. But it's kind of fun though. If you want to read
Like, okay,
anything,
no,
it's kind of
listen,
fun.
I love a smut book that has good world building, character building,
Most
storyline.
definitely.
I prefer that. So I really did love the fact that this book wasn't just about the sex. But what I want to talk about all the time with my friends is just the sex. So that's why we're here. So stuff happens.
A lot of action stuff. They do keep doing it a lot. They are obsessed with sex.
Oh yeah.
That's okay. And they go to steal the cauldron. The cauldron. Ugh,
Yeah, and they don't know how big the cauldron is, which
no, they don't.
turns out to be a real big kink in their plans and not the fun kind of kink.
No.
And they're immediately caught and they're immediately brought to the King of Hybern's throne room, right? And who the fuck is there? Sussy.
Tamlin.
This motherfucker. This motherfucker just never believed her. Never believed her. Not even when she was staring at Lucian with her eyeballs and was like, Lucian, I don't want to go back. You saw.
It's not happening
again. You saw how he treated me. You sat there and let it happen. You watched. And then he was like, oh, she must be under some spell by Rhys. As if Lucian's own fucking eyeballs weren't there watching it happen and could corroborate her fucking story. Oh my God. This is the part that makes what Tamlin did unforgivable. There's so many people are like, oh, SJM did Tamlin dirty. No. SJM painted Tamlin's character as your typical guy who lives in America right now, probably in the military, and probably incapable of having any kind of emotional intelligence. Is not okay with change, is not okay with anybody.
Traditional guy. He's a traditional guy.
Not okay with anybody telling him he's wrong and refuses to get therapy. That's the person that Tamlin is. He's going to do whatever he needs to do to ensure that his worldview is not fucked up. And even if that means working with the bad guy just to get your girlfriend back.
Okay, let's summarize what happens. Summarize it really fast because I need to talk about a point that everybody's talking about and I hate. Go ahead.
Okay. Feyre and Rhys got secret married and he secret made her the High Lady, which was told previously couldn't happen. Then Hybern tries to break their bond, right? The mating bond, because they find out that there's a mating bond. He breaks a different bond, the bargain bond, so that the talking isn't so loud in the brain, but they're still mated and she's still High Lady. But then Feyre uses her day court light to stage like a thing, right? And she uses that light to break all the spells so that they can all winnow and get away. And then she puts on the Oscar award winning act of the year where she pretends that, oh my God, the bond's broken and the spell's been lifted. Oh my God, Tamlin, save me, take me home, take me home. And she like the one last thing she said to Rhys was, get my sisters out of here. And they just fucking go. And
but we did never talk about the sisters. So
oh shit! How did the sisters are there and the queens are there?
Yeah. So what happened? Okay, I was like, she's gonna tell us.
You do it. You do it. You do it. You do it.
So Tamlin, he's he's crazy. We know already. He's just out of his mind by this point. So he's talking to Hybern. Hybern's talking to the queen, to the human queens that they like are the governors of the human lands.
Yeah.
The human queens don't want to be human. They want to be fae and live forever. So Hybern's like, you know what? We could do that with the cauldron. So let's just, do this, babe, because I can
test it out first.
I can make you immortal. You can help me in the human land, so I can have slaves now. They're humans, so why not, right? And they're like, bet, definitely yes. And he tries the cauldron first. He tries the cauldron first to see if it actually works and can make humans fae. And who is the first one?
Elaine.
Oh, we said it at the same time. I love it. Elaine. Fucking Elaine. Yeah. The one that loves the garden and everything pink and whatever. She's the first one. The dumb one. The bimbo one. And the moment that she gets out, what happens? What happens? Oh, fuck.
Lucian his face falls. He's grave. He's in shock and he just goes, she's my mate.
My mate.
Oh. This man is in fucking shock.
Yeah.
Just in shock.
Everyone is saying that he said it like, she's my mate. No, he whispered to himself. He said, oh my gosh, she's my mate. And that's it. Why is everyone getting crazy about this? He didn't like claim her in the moment. He didn't say, you are my mate, you're coming with me. No, never.
No,
So
if that's
please,
what was happening, then he would have taken Elaine with them to the spring court.
exactly, he would have fought for like everything when they
Yeah.
took her to the night court ish. I
Oh,
didn't know it was
right.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So that, and
And
then
oh
after
yeah.
Elaine,
Oh yeah.
Nesta, but she
Nesta goes
fights.
in.
She
Ooh,
fights.
she gives the death point, the I'm gonna fucking kill you, Highburn. Ooh, fuck, I love her. And then she is clawing and kicking and screaming. And she goes into the cauldron and she takes something from that cauldron. And let me tell you, everyone keeps
Mm-hmm.
talking about Lucian going, she's my mate. Let's talk
Oh,
about
baby.
Cassian is crawling to be with
By
her.
this
He is
point,
fighting.
everyone is injured. Everyone is dying.
Oh yeah,
Everyone
they've been
is
just like
almost
torn to
like
shreds.
literally one thread of just life and death. They're
Yeah,
right
torn
there,
to shreds, torn to shreds. His
right
wings
there.
are in tatters, and he is like, even he had promised her that he would protect her, and he was doing everything he could on his last breath to get to Nesta to save her. And
He
I'm
was
not gonna
crawling on the floor to get to her. He couldn't do anything because he didn't have any strength of anything. But he
the
was doing
most
it.
the most beautiful
Tears,
thing, the most beautiful
tears.
thing I've ever seen. And I love the way that that comes back in reverse in the next book, and I can't wait to talk about it. But all this happens, and they SJM leaves us with
Farrah going
the
back.
night court. The night court takes Nesta and Elaine, and they winnow away, and Tamlin and Lucian take Feyre back to the night court, where she continues to hold up the facade that she is happy that the spell was broken and she just wants to go home and be with her boyfriend.
Lucian has this idea that Farrah is definitely lying. Like, he's like, bitch, but we're gonna see that in the other book. Because
Yeah.
he gets, next book, Aqua War. War, baby.
It's thick.
WAR. War. Okay? We're talking about violence. We're talking about sex in the camp war. We're talking just about everything. So,
Yeah.
heck yes.
What's your favorite part of the second half of the book?
Okay, so it's gonna be Court of Nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Rhys telling her his side of the story, me crying
Mm-hmm.
because it was beautiful. Cassian crawling into Nesta.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. What about you?
That's good. Yeah, so obviously the smutty bits, the Court of Nightmares, 100%.
Yeah, baby.
And then I fucking loved when Nesta gave the death point to Hybern. That I was just like, this bitch, she's got fight in her. It was like trying to put a cat in a pillowcase, and I fucking loved it. Like
I love it, but it was funny though.
I didn't think it was funny. It was just like, I was like, finally, because I felt like Elaine was like, no, but she wasn't really, and everybody else was just kind of standing around, and Nessa was like, fuck, you're gonna have to fight if you want to get me into that fucking cauldron. She was not going to rest for a second, and I resonated with it so much. I was like, this bitch, she knows what's up. Like,
No, I loved everything, but the pointing part, I think it was funny. Like
as she's going down,
she's like that is fucking funny.
Just wait. Hold on. I'm going to do this for the video. I got to move some stuff because I'm going to do the splits almost ready. Just
funny. Like, I know
you're right.
Like,
you're ruining it for me, but that's fine. You're ruining it for me. That's fine.
Funny.
I ruined Rhys for you with the
yeah, you did.
The writing boots.
Yeah.
And Jurian looks like Steve Carell from The Office. So
stop. Stop. I forgot about that.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap it up.
We want to know your favorite parts, quotes, moments from Akko Math, A Court of Mist and Fury. So please tell us, because we're always open to share them here in the podcast. And we want to know, we want to say, blah, 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 blah. That's you. That's supposed to be you. Loves when Rhys almost finger Farrah the Cornheimer's. We really want to read that because we want to feel a little bit more approved that our thoughts are very filthy and that you are the same way.
Yeah, and we
Please.
want to know what you would have changed. How do you have
Yeah,
fanfic?
I love
Do you
that.
have fanfic that you want us to read? Please send it to
Please
us.
send it. Please.
Please send it to us. I want to read all of your sexy, smutty fanfic. Please, if you're the one that wrote it, please send it to us. Anyways.
And because you can get enough of us and you know it, follow us on social media. All of our social medias are the same name, at Come With Us Pod. P-O-D at the end. On Instagram, I am Sussy Nunez, and Reshea is at Reshea_reads. That's right?
Yep.
Awesome. On TikTok, I'm Sussy Nunez 1111. Yeah, baby. And Reshea is at Charlotte Rivers 4, number 4 at the end.
Sinners, you've been good little angels for us. Thank you for listening. And remember, stay wicked, stay wild, and keep reading.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.